Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to this Christmas Satsang. Thank you so much for joining us. I cannot tell you how excited Yanna, Anita, and myself are. We've been practicing these past couple of days, setting everything. So we're so happy to have you here. Merry Christmas and welcome. I have a couple of housekeeping announcements to make before I pass on the microphone to Anita. So first of all, I see you. First of all, we request that you please keep your microphones muted and your video off. Video off just to maintain privacy and confidentiality, okay, once we upload this to a public platform. So mics and videos off. Just to give you a preview of what's going to happen today, this event will last approximately 2 hours, maybe less. You don't have to stay for the entirety of the 2 hours unless you want to, and you're more than welcome to stay. If you have to leave, you can just leave, no problem. If you have to take a break, go take a break whenever you want. This is very loose and relaxed. So this is how it's going to go. Right now, we're giving you the welcome. Anita's going to say some words. Then we're going to do some breathing. And we're going to move through 3 different topics throughout the time that we're together. We're going to have a conversation about kindness, the magic of Christmas, and blessings. We're going to have some beautiful live piano music by Yanna in between those topics. And finally, we'll close with a guided breathing along with some handpan music for us to, as a group and at the same time individually, feel into that divine space within us. So we're so happy to have you here. Welcome. This was our way of gathering for Christmas, gathering all our friends from around the world. Thank you for joining us. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Anita. Boom.
Well, thank you very much for this beautiful introduction. And indeed, and I extend this welcome, of course, to you as well. Merry Christmas, happy times. And, well, I would like to say, welcome to Satsang. Hope you will feel the sacred space, the Christmas energies, and the wonderful glow that comes with this beautiful, beautiful satsang energies. Well, let's start.
All right, everyone, I'm going to play a little bit of handpan music to set the tone. We're not going to speak. You're just going to hear the music. And I invite you to take some deep breaths and start finding the rhythm of your own breath. Thank you. I hope that was relaxing somewhat. Okay, to those of you who are coming right in, welcome. Welcome to this beautiful space. We request that you please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras, just because of confidentiality stuff. So yes, microphones muted, cameras off. Thank you so much and welcome. We're so happy to have you here. Now that we've done a little bit of breathing, we're going to move on to the first topic of the night, which is one that I'm very excited about. It has to do with kindness. Before I pass on the microphone to Anita, I will say a few words about kindness. As some of you know, I recently graduated from a PhD program. I was not expecting a PhD program to be that hard. Like, I knew that it was going to be hard, people told me, but once I was going through the motions of it, I realized, damn, I'm not even sure if I can do this. And the thing that got me through the program was receiving kindness from people. That's what I realized in the day of my graduation. Let me go back. There were some people who took the lead. That's the thing. They took the lead in offering affection. They took the lead in offering empathy and understanding. They took the lead in offering just love and kindness. And I think that's what ultimately allowed me to do something very difficult that I was very close to just give up. And so this end of the year, that's also the end of a big chapter for me. I've been reflecting on kindness and how I think it's a force that's underestimated because it allows the receiver to move mountains, to do the impossible. At least that was my experience. And I would love to now hear from Anita if she has any, excuse me, any views on the power of kindness.
Well, first, maybe again, you could repeat for the people that they mute their cameras, because it truly is a privacy thing.
Am I muted?
Okay, so I see someone called Marjolene.
Marjolein, yeah. Could you?
Yes. My friend, would you be willing to turn off your camera, please? Thank you so much.
Thank you. And maybe also mute your microphone, then all will be well. Well, it's a very free-flowing a gathering that we have here. And yes, I believe, strongly feel, and have experienced that kindness is a wonderful way for our own divine self, our true self, in whatever way you are referring to your soul, to that what is, the isness, the ground stillness of yourself, to be expressed into the world. In spirituality, we are very much sitting with ourselves, being with self, meditating with self, breathing with self is a beautiful time. It's necessary. It's so grand if you can do that. But at a certain moment, there is nearly an organic or automatic way that it wants to be expressed, whatever it is. It wants to be expressed. And that expression can be kindness. And I've also noticed that people in spirituality are afraid to show themselves, show the truth of themselves, How to do that? Should I hide it? Should I keep it behind closed doors? Or only express it in the privacy of my own world and life? And the answer is kindness. Kindness is the absolute beautiful way wherein so much of the characteristics of a soul connected human being can express itself freely, because every human on earth, some exceptions are there, but let's say nearly all humans on earth know and accept kindness. So to me, that was a beautiful revelation of getting to know that energy, kindness, to be kind to people, and finding out ways, creative ways to be kind. We can say kind is having this big smile, hi, I love you so much, yada, 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 that's all bullshit. But to find creative ways within yourself to be kind. It can be kindness to a family member, kindness to a true kind, truly kind. And true kindness starts within yourself. It doesn't start anywhere else. Is that a bit of an answer to your question?
It absolutely is. And I have a couple of a follow-up question and a comment. I'll start with a follow-up question. When you talk about kindness to yourself, could you paint me a picture of what that might look like?
Well, we can all think of it and think that we are capable of lovely, love you, love you. That's a way of being kind to yourself. But what is it there with truth? And is it there with absolutely being genuine? Is it there like that? Or is it just like taking a bath, having a candle, blah 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 blah, reading the Cosmopolitan, whatever? That is nice. That's not kind, that's nice, being nice to you. And that's perfect as well. Of course, it is wonderful. Taking a walk, taking care of self, they're all beautiful things. But being kind to self, to me, that is when the expression of kindness is bringing that what is the truth of you, your soul, into this world on earth. Then, of course, at first, being kind to you is having this connection, opening up to soul, opening up to your own divine, opening up to the warmth of self. That is, I believe, maybe somebody will come with a better explanation, but for me, that is the utmost kind action I can do for myself. To be in connection with my soul, divine, the is that is. I don't care what words we use. If somebody wants to use the word God, I'm happy with that as well. Just that connection. It's a sensation within self.
Yes, and I sense here also a topic of worthiness, because I know that for me, I love spending time in that emptiness that we've talked about, breathing with soul, even if it's just for 30 seconds. And yet, there are days when I want to do it. I really want to do it, but my mind just will not shut up. And then once it finally shuts up, I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if there's a worthiness topic there of feeling worthy to, I don't know, to be God also.
Well, that depends from person to person, whether you find yourself worthy enough. To me, when I see many people struggling with the same issue, so it's beautiful that you're bringing it up, is take your time. Keep coming back. Keep breathing. Keep saying yes to self. And it will become easier and easier. But remember, we have spent many, many years being trained to be in the mind, to listen to the mind. Think before you act. Blah, 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 blah. Think it over twice. You know, we have been trained to use the mind a lot. And now all of a sudden, this, you know, funny lady from Holland tells you, why don't you, you know, walk away from the mind a little bit and be a little bit, just a little bit more interested in what is there at the end of the breath. If you want to sink into yourself and just feel and sense and be with the breath. Be with you. But when you have, I'll give a very, very simple example. Say you are a person who loves to have the radio on in your home.
Even de lieve groetjes van mijn man. Ja.
Please, please.
Hallo, Marie. Ja, even de beste wensen.
Hey, Ludi. Hello. Can you hear me?
Denken aan jou.
Oh man, thank you.
Yeah, good.
So you were about to give this example.
Yes.
Someone who has
I'm
the
so
radio
sorry for
on.
Yes, you have the radio on in your home all of the time. It's like, you know, your background music, you work while the radio is on, you cook, you clean, you love the music and the voices of the DJs, and you love that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have a radio on here as well that is constantly talking to us. Whether you are aware of a voice or are it just, you know, little feelings, little sensations that the mind is bringing you that keeps you busy. And all of a sudden we say, breathe and go into the stillness, go into the emptiness. It's like somebody, hey, my music is gone. My radio, what's happened to the radio, you know? And for some people that is just getting used to. For others, it is just going into a frenzy of panic and fear when that happens. So worthiness, I kind of get what you're coming from. Like, am I worthy enough to be in this grand stillness together with the grandness of myself? Yeah, but we can also not use these words and say, just be in the emptiness. Then it's all, you know, not so threatening anymore.
It's more simple.
Yeah, it is.
I like it, less threatening. So going back to kindness, we have kindness for self, which, as you said, for you, it's spending time in that stillness. I want to offer an example that I saw of kindness that moved me, and then also maybe push some spiritual buttons here and there. So the example of kindness that I saw was from a professor towards a student. This was an international student who had just moved to the United States, and anyone who's lived abroad knows how complicated it can be. At the beginning, you don't know absolutely anyone, and you have to start a new life from scratch in a second language, blah, blah, blah. So this person was spending a lot of time in social media, this international student, and kind of displaying behaviors that showed loneliness. Like, this person was feeling just very lonely. And she told me that the professor reached out to her and say, hey, do you know any good restaurants close to your area? Why don't we go out for lunch? This was a professor who didn't have a close relationship with this student at all. She just noticed these posts on social media. And so she took the lead on reaching out to the student inviting the student for lunch so that they could spend some time together. This student told me this story. The professor didn't, the student did, with such joy. Like, oh my gosh, what an amazing person. I cannot believe she did that. It meant so much to me, made my day. She's awesome. She is so awesome. Anyways, that example of kindness moved me. And it also challenged, and here's where I want to push some spiritual buttons. It challenged the idea that, well, this person, this international student is experiencing loneliness, and she chose that experience to some level. I'm not going to interfere in her experience, and I'm just gonna, be here, observe it, not interfere.
Mhm. Oh my, yeah.
What? Any thoughts, Anita?
Well, let me keep my thoughts to myself in this case. Well, no. Kindness is something you don't need to do. And the professor in this story didn't need to reach out. This lady decided to reach out to this student and say, hi, let's go out for lunch. I mean, not go out for coffee. We're going out for lunch. So we have a length of time to just chat and see maybe where your needs are, and maybe, or just, social conversation and introducing you to other students maybe. Of course, is loneliness or homesickness or whatever is an experience that a person can choose for themselves. But, if all paramedics would do the same, when they see an accident on the road, they're being called 911 or 112 in Holland, just in case you're abroad. The paramedics would do the same thing, then it would be a mess. So, yes, I believe maybe it's good to know that, to me, having these experiences, these people having experiences, doesn't mean that I have to step aside from these experiences. They're having an experience, and maybe me coming into their lives is also part of the experience. Who knows? If we're going to take all these spiritual things that are being, blurted out in the world and take them into the mind, we're going to miss something very important. Yes, there is compassion for somebody who experiences poverty, but who cares? When, in this case, the story in my experience, in my lifetime, a couple of days ago, one of the ladies from the Power of Gratitude, the Power of Kindness, initiative that I'm taking on with some people. This lady is, being helped by just bringing her some Christmas decoration, because there is no money for a Christmas decoration. Are we going to stand outside and look into that house where there's no Christmas tree, no lighting, nothing, and say, hey, good experience for you? No, I don't believe that is the truth of what is being conveyed there. We can be compassionate. If we are not compassionate, we would go on and say, you could go there or there, you could buy something, and why are you also, you have something standing in your home you don't really need, why don't you get rid of that? And we don't need to judge poverty. We don't need to judge somebody being lonely. Even, and that's hard, because there will be things in these experiences of kindness, there will be things that touch you. There will be moments that you will see the student who never go out. I don't know, of course, I don't know anything about her, but what if she's a lady who likes to keep to herself and doesn't go out, doesn't have a lot of social skills, or, you know, is not a really outgoing person? Should we judge that and say, well, if she would change that, she would go out and she would meet people? No. Compassion, okay, she has created this experience, then let's honor her in her experience. But it doesn't mean that we cannot reach out and say, hey, I am blah, 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 and I would like to have lunch with you. Do you want to join me? Or, hey, we have some Christmas lighting and stuff, and would you like us to bring it to you? They can always say no.
Yeah, I'm nodding because I understand and I study this, the value of extending invitations. And I wonder if sometimes people don't extend invitations because they're afraid to hear no. But that's a whole other story. Just to wrap it up with kindness. Oh my gosh, yes, I agree. What a great topic. I was just reading a tweet from the Dalai Lama who was talking about how we all need to be more, and he used the term warm-hearted. Warm-hearted, alluding to kindness. I could not agree more. Another story, a friend of mine was driving down the street. He turns to the left. He sees someone on the floor having like an epilepsy attack. And he says, there was a friend to his right, and he says to the friend, we need to stop and help this man. And the friend says, no, like it's not our problem. And my friend says, well, if we all go through the world observing things that are not our problem, yet doing nothing, that would be a very cold world.
Yes, and more than that, something that I spoke of in the groups, in the Satsang groups, Dutch and English, and that is a difficult one to swallow for a lot of people who are coming from spirituality. This world, you cannot see yourself apart from the world. It cannot be done. The being that you are, you cannot be not connected to this world, because everything you see in this world is part of your world. Everything you perceive, everything you are aware of is part of your world. So if somebody decides to let somebody who lays, like in your example, a man who is desperately in need of some medical care and attention, and oh, it's not my problem, what are you saying no to within yourself? And that is not my, and that of course is something that this person or this man, has to find out for himself, or not at all. But to know that you as a person are completely and utterly appearing within your grander self. I could even say take a breath with it, or take a lot of breaths with it, to know that you appear, you as a person, a human person, appears in the groundness of self. You're not apart from it. And kindness is that what flows through the being into the human and is being expressed accordingly. So what are you saying no to if you have these kind of unkind actions in your world? And yes, stepping into situations where kindness is needed, but the situations are, demanding, tiring even. Yeah. Then we come back to point one, being kind to you. Oh, there's so much more I could say about kindness, but we also want to talk about some other things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm gonna wrap it up with this whole kindness thing. I see Yanna getting ready for the piano, eagerly, excitedly. Before I pass on the microphone to Yanna, I'll say this very last thing that I feel like I want to share. For me, inspiration is a great thermometer, if you will, for what kind of behaviors feel true, they resonate, and what kind of behaviors do not resonate. And I know that when I see people being kind, it's a source of inspiration for me. When I graduated and I hosted a little dinner party and my best friends came with cards and gifts, they didn't have to do that. And they could have easily texted me last minute, you know what? I'm really busy, blah, blah, blah. But no, they set aside time, precious time, to come celebrate with me because it was important to me, just to make me feel good. That's inspiring for me. And when I see people who are like, I'm so sorry, I need to cancel last minute, but I have, like, sorry, maybe it's true. Things happen. But when I see those kinds of behaviors where indeed you don't have to go to someone's party and you decide not to go because you don't have to, and maybe they're going to feel really bad about it, but it's not my problem, that does not inspire me. And that's how I know that kindness is a cool thing, to say the least.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yanna, please take us away with some music.
Okay, do you hear me? Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna take off my headphones, but you will hear me.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Yanna.
You heard it well?
Beautiful. Yes, wonderful.
Good, good. I felt the kindness wanting to flow through the notes. The beautiful heart we humans have. So that's what wants to come up in the music. Thank you too.
Well, it was felt. Thank you very much. Beautiful.
Humans do have beautiful, warm hearts if they're brave enough to show it. Ah, thank you so much. That was needed. Thank you. Let's move on to the second topic of the day, the night, perhaps, depending on where you are. The magic of Christmas. What a great topic, because the whole intention for this gathering was to get together with friends in this Christmas day to celebrate. And Anita, I'm going to pass the microphone to you in just a moment. I want to hear your thoughts on this. For me, the magic of Christmas is tightly connected to kindness. And I think of the story of Papa Noel, the guy who invented Christmas, basically this man who would give toys for free to children. And the myth, the story of Santa Claus, was born out of his acts of kindness and generosity. And to me, that's where the magic of Christmas is, in that warm-heartedness and kindness. Now I'm going to pass on the microphone to you because I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I would like to, from Father Christmas, go to the more religious celebration of Yeshua coming onto this earth, being born. Also the devastation and horror that surrounded his birth. And he was expected by many people to be their king. And as we know, up till today, he has been a very religious figure for a lot of people in church, but also a very warm and loving entity for many people in spirituality. And isn't that amazing? To be like coming to earth, being a master from day one. His birth was announced, celebrated by the three wise guys. And they brought gifts to celebrate his birth, not to give to the parents like we do, but to celebrate his birth. And what was really birthed, without, making this a religious church-like talk, but what was being birthed on earth? It was the potential for all human beings, a bigger potential than what was already there, to get to know the truth of themselves, to not be alone anymore, to feel the warmth and the joy within themselves. I believe that his whole life was dedicated to that. And I don't even believe me or anyone else can even start to fathom what that must be like, to be solely birthed on earth, to make something possible for people centuries, maybe even into all infinity, to be able to reconnect to self, because that is truly magical. If that happens within a person, within a human being, that is being felt all over the world. If someone comes home into the light and love and gratitude of themselves, back into the grace of self, that then all humans on earth have that little bit of extra light in their hearts and even bigger potential for themselves to feel and sense that light and love for them. And every time I have the great fortune and the big honor of working with humans who eventually seem to trust me that much and that big that they say, okay, I will listen to you for a short time in my life and, you know, breathe with you. And then sometimes these humans, they connect to self. It's like the soul opens her arms and let them come in into their own hearts and their own soul, so they will never, ever feel alone again. They can come home into the warmth of self. Witnessing that, apart from having experienced it myself with, you know, my teacher, Norma, a small picture here, is the biggest joy I experience. The biggest joy. It is an amazing, amazing feeling that some other soul is lighting up this world. And yes, we are never alone, and we are our souls, whether we know that or not. But for a human to start being aware of that and to fall into that connection and to open up to the grandness and the magic, the creativeness, as Norma would say, that rolling out the red carpet in front of you. Isn't that the most and most wonderful magic there is in a human life? And that is like it's Christmas every day then, you know? Yeah. Maybe I went away from your question a little bit, but that is how I feel. And I have been spending Christmas on my own for a couple of years now. First struggling with it. It's not because, you know, don't pity me. It's not about pitying. It's just my family comes together. We in Holland, we have a second Christmas day. So for everybody missing the first, we can always celebrate it on the second. It really is a thing. So we get together in second Christmas day because for work and things like that. So don't pity me. There's nothing to pity. But I had a hard time in the beginning. A couple of years ago, Norma, a friend of mine as well, had just passed away that year. And I took time to heal. I took time to walk. And this year, it's just like that what makes Christmas even more special. The birth and the celebrating the birthday of Yeshua is here. Whether we sit with a table full of people or not, it is here in my heart, you know.
Beautiful. And that was a plot twist because when I think of magic, honestly, if you would ask me my definition of magic, it's like, oh, something that was not likely to happen happens, or something that seemed impossible became possible. That's the sort of magic that I know I've experienced in this lifetime. what you're describing is slightly different,
No,
and
it's exactly the same.
it's exactly the same.
Yes, for I know you, and I know many people who are watching at this moment, at least live. One moment you have experienced a connection with your soul. Wasn't that something you had never expected? Wasn't that a sensation, a feeling you had not believed was possible in your life? That you can just sit in a chair and joy fills you, like, and you, what did I do? What did I do? You know? And it is filling you up with, maybe we need to share with this lady, Simone, that you can mute your camera, dear one, and your microphone. Thank you. Good, because didn't it just fill you with a sensation? I remember the first time I felt that. I just sat there. Norma walked up to me and she said, "Dear, you've never experienced this much love, did you, in this way?" And I right away said, "Oh, no, it's not that. It is blah, 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 blah." But it was that. The sense of self, of soul, of that grand love. Isn't it just the biggest surprise of your life? It's like, hey, that is the biggest miracle of all. And indeed, if you take things literally, magic is something that the mind doesn't get. The mind doesn't know it is possible, hasn't thought about it, hasn't fantasized about it. Nothing of the sort. And then we, oh, it's a miracle. No, it's just something the mind doesn't know. Or am I going too far with this now?
No, not at all. I was sitting with that feeling that you were describing, the biggest surprise of it all, the feeling soul, feeling so much love. And it's certainly the most pleasant feeling I've felt.
Mhm.
Magical, you would even say.
Yeah. Yes. And to go even a little bit further with that is when you sit inside yourself, in the stillness and the emptiness of self, there is a moment that you start to realize that this has always been here. First, there is the initial surprise. It may even take months or years, and the wondering and being amazed. Oh, look what my soul created for me. But then it started to internalize and start to have an effect on every cell, even every thought you're thinking. And it's just expanding throughout the human, while all starting to realize that this whole human self is appearing, is here. And more of what truly is will start to surface, will start to show itself to its human. The human that was birthed, the body that was birthed, the mind that was trained. But the grandness of self is all of the mind and the body is embedded in that self. If you start to realize it, the miracle just starts to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until we don't have to get rid of the mind, we don't have to get rid of the body, we don't have to do all this silly stuff, but just realize that it's all here, expanded, around, surrounding, and more than that, you are that grandness. And realizing that is probably one of the most amazing, magical moments of a human life. So,
I don't think there's much to say. I completely got it. I don't want to overcomplicate it with the mind or whatnot. So just to wrap it up, before we pass on the microphone to Yanna again, what I'm hearing is that for you, Anita, the magic of Christmas has a lot to do with remembering Jeshua, his birth, and this master who came to this planet to help others discover the grandness within. And second, yeah, your soul, feeling loved by your soul, realizing that you are that grand being called soul.
yes, indeed.
Was that an okay summary?
Yes, very well said. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm very moved by this particular conversation. I'm feeling some things within me, and that miracle that you were talking about, I've kind of been witnessing it. This transformation where I'm not intending to change, but the change is happening, one breath at a time.
Yes.
What a miracle. So thank you. I'm gonna request some, if this is okay with you, Anita, I'm gonna request some soft, soulful music from Yanna.
Beautiful.
I thought about something strong and but okay. Soft is also good.
Yes. Yes.
How beautiful, and what a beautiful setting.
Thank you, thank
Yes.
you.
Yes, so
The work from me and my husband together, like for 2 hours before the show. But yeah, it's gonna serve us in the long run. Gonna do some things, and that's what's very inspiring to prepare to this. Yeah.
wow.
Nice. Thank you so much. That was really, really beautiful.
Happy to hear. I didn't hear myself while playing, and I was like, oh, I forgot to take the headphones off. That's fine.
It worked. It was beautiful. Again,
Good.
thank you. Soulful and soft.
Yeah, as requested.
All right, friends. Well, thank you. Thank you for staying with us, for joining us, for hanging out with us in this Anita and Friends Christmas gathering. Again, the intention was just to join a bunch of our friends from around the world on Christmas. And as you know, we're going to have the breathing at the very end of our time together. Guided breathing with some handpan, which I suspect is going to be fantastic. And in the meantime, we are touching base upon some topics. We already discussed kindness, and just in case you missed it, no worries. We will upload it to some kind of YouTube platform so that you can watch it in case you missed it, or in case you liked it so much that you want to watch it again. It will be available. We already talked about the magic of Christmas, and now we're going to move on to the last topic for our gathering, which is the topic of blessings. I originally brought this topic to Anita because, as I've mentioned about 200 times now, I just graduated with my PhD. I just don't get tired of repeating it and shoving it into people's minds. But I just graduated, and of course, it's an interesting time in my life because it's the end of a chapter. And for me, when I end a chapter in my life, it's very important to finish all those relationships in the best possible way. It's not an ending, but just that micro episode will end, and so it's important to me to close those relationships well. So I was speaking to a couple of my professors who I love, and I told each of them separately, hey, now that I'm leaving, I would really appreciate a blessing. Like, if you're willing to give me a blessing, that would be a great gift. Mind you, for me, this is kind of normal, right? Because I come from Mexico, and like, blessings are a thing in Mexico. We know the meaning of the word. I remember my grandmother, whenever I was about to make a big trip, my grandmother would give me her blessing in a very religious way. She would do like the cross, and I bless you, go forth with my blessing, but like, you're officially blessed. You're cool, good to go. And that was very meaningful to me. It was quite a ritual. And when I presented this idea to my professors in the United States, they were like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean by a blessing? What does that even look like? I'm like, oh my gosh, blessings are not exactly a thing there, at least interpersonally. And so, Anita, I consider you to be an expert when it comes to blessings. Yes. Yes. And I wonder what a blessing means to you, and if this is something that you extend to people in your day-to-day life.
Well, I had a very beautiful experience when I went out on a trip. My soul at that time wanted me to take the trip, and I will not go and spend much time talk about the trip because I've already done that in the past. But one of the things was to find the Lemurian energies on one of the Dutch islands we have in the north. And it was a beautiful experience. And one of my last days, I went to visit
Alsjeblieft.
church.
Ja, ik wil
And
nu even kijken, want ik heb er zo weinig van gezien. Door alles wat er gebeurde.
Ludi, je bent... Yes.
Nee hoor.
Okay, hold on, everyone. We're gonna mute a couple of our friends.
Oh, ik was aan... Oké. Ik stond
In
gewoon-
case you're listening, if you're able to mute yourselves, please do so.
Yes, well, beautiful. Then we at least know we are alive, don't we?
Nice distraction, yeah.
Well, I walked into this Catholic church, and this church had been a beautiful church, and it was Corona time, COVID, so nobody was in the church. Really, no church was opened, but this one was. I walked in, I sat there for some time breathing, enjoying, it was a very modern church, enjoying the art and the incredibly blue ceiling because they wanted to mimic the sea. And it was beautiful. And then I rose up, I thought, I'm going out now, I'm going back. My husband was waiting outside the car. And I was stopped by an energy that was so strong. I could not walk on. And I realized instantly from my knowingness, this is Yeshua. I was like, okay, hi. Good to meet you in your church. Good that you are still around in that church nowadays. And he came to me and said, may I bless you? So it was a question, may I bless you? For I know that receiving a blessing does mean something. A blessing is not, and I said yes, by the way. So I received this blessing, which I felt throughout all of my body, my being, and everything was singing and in joy and, well, some undescribable things. At that time, at that moment, I had no clue. What does a blessing mean? I mean, like your question, what is it? What does it mean? And in time, I started to realize that this blessing, such a strong, potent thing falling over me with a deep, deep, deep promise. And that promise was, this blessing will eventually be something that you will extend to the world. But how? Do I have to go around, blessing everybody? And no, the blessing is something that will start to internalize. It will grow within yourself. And it will eventually bring your bliss, your blessing to the world, because you will be living that blessing. That's the promise that lays in every blessing. No matter what, I mean, I did not go into the library or the Google, what does a blessing mean? Because humans have given it all sorts of words and meaning and beautiful things. But, you know, I wanted to experience for myself, what is this? So if you can go through this world being the blessing, because you were blessed, you were blessed with an eternal bliss that is arising from within, then can you be the blessing? I guess this was another plot twist in this.
A little bit less of a plot twist compared to the other one. But no, I like it. What I'm hearing is that we are all naturally blessed with, you said it much nicer, like this
We
eternal
can be blessed if
bliss.
if we allow it to.
Mm.
Even Yeshua asked me, may I bless you? I'm going to come and throw it over you like, rice at a wedding. No, may I bless you, And so that could be the question that, I lay down here, not because I'm so special or because I am this, I don't know what. I am just as much that what is, the isness, as you are. And from that, I would love to bless you. And then I can only ask, may I do that? And when there is a yes coming from within yourself, it is so. Because the person cannot bless. Yeah, I bless you. I'm okay with you marrying this guy. I bless your ideas. No, that's not the same thing that I'm talking about. May I bless you.
Well, the answer is yes.
Good.
Also, have you ever requested a blessing?
No, I have not. No, I may have from my soul and from, but no, I have never requested it. That's very nice. That's what you did, didn't you?
Yeah, and it totally freaked out my professors. But I like it. I like this idea of requesting a blessing, whether it's, I mean, it doesn't have to be a professor, of course, but this idea of requesting a blessing from you to you, requesting a blessing from your soul, could be something fun to play with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. A blissful blessing.
I don't have anything else to add or ask in terms of blessings. If you do, by all means, the floor is yours.
That's easy, isn't it? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, maybe moving on, when a human being gives a blessing, as I just did, the giver and the receiver, which become one eventually, are not really know for sure, when you receive a blessing, what is it that you want to receive and what is it that you are giving out. And just like as with kindness, it's the same. When you give something, I have had people in my group of volunteers that were so amazed that how wonderful it felt to perform an act of kindness.
Yeah.
With blessing, it's the same. You cannot bless anyone without being blessed yourself. So receiving or giving becomes one. It's like for a moment you are both together, or with all of us here, we are together in bliss, in love, being blessed. Just, you know, maybe people listening to this or present have known this in their lives, or have other people are experiencing it. How horrible and times can be when the mind is cruel, or life is not giving you one of the best experiences. And then there can be sadness or devastation or whatever. But then bring that one moment of a blessing, one moment of kindness, one moment of magic. And all of a sudden, all of this misery is gone, even if it's for a little while. You know, some of us here have been, you know, already very much into breathing, into integration, into satsang, into being in the emptiness and the stillness, and knowing that all things will eventually pass. Even this body will pass, even this mind will pass, you know, but that what truly is here, will always be here, always. Wasn't born here, and it will not die here. It's always here. And that, being in that for a moment, enhancing another human's life, to be in that, even for a couple of minutes, maybe seconds, that are not to make yourself as a person bigger or more important, because you can't. In that moment of absolute kindness, magic, and blessing, there is nothing there. Nothing that can enhance the mind, or, you know, walk around feeling very important. No, it is, then there is just this being. It is like if we could conclude with the word amen. Amen only means, as Yanna perfectly knows, and so it is. And living that, living amen, living and so it is, then we are constantly bringing forth kindness, magical, wondrous feelings that people may not have experienced before, but they do experience that when they're near to us. And that is this constant blessing that comes from the moment that you breathe in and you breathe out. You breathe it in, you receive it, and you breathe it out. You give it. And people find that a little bit intimidating sometimes, confronting, or, well, they're very welcome to put on their sunglasses or run the other way. It's a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful state. Not even a state. It's a beautiful way of being, loving. I'll leave it at that. And
Golden. Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling very at peace at the moment. No need to add anything. Well, if anything, I do feel inspired to thank, and this is very unlike me, but I do feel inspired to thank the entities that I'm sensing, that are joining us in this space, maybe facilitating more of a quiet, soulful space. I don't know, but I do want to thank those invisible entities who have joined us. This is a beautiful space. So now I'm going to be quiet and pass on the microphone to Yanna. for our last piano session. Take it away, Yanna.
So beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
So beautiful. It is, I guess that is the manifestation of the blessing.
Wow.
Amen. Thanks, Yanna. That was precious.
Mm.
Thank you.
Well, I think we're ready. We're ready for our last breathing for today.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask all of you to get super comfortable. If you're standing up, take a moment to sit down, even lay down. Just get very comfortable because we're about to breathe and go into a meditative state. I'll be accompanying Anita with some gentle handpan music. And without further ado, Anita, the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, again, as Florencia said, make yourself as comfortable as you can be, even when there are people around you, noises outside, or you're just still and quiet with yourself. Take some time to only sense you. And when I say you, I mean that you take a breath and follow that breath deep, deep into your body. There's no need to use your senses. You may even close your eyes, shut the door, and be only here with you. For within yourself is this grand and beautiful stillness, an empty space. Don't be afraid to rest there for a while. There is nothing to think about. And just stop thinking. And even if it doesn't work, to stop thinking, don't pay any attention to your thoughts. Don't worry about them. They will come and they will go. Don't attach. Don't identify. Don't escape in a thought. Just be still. The beautiful music, the sounds. Open your heart. Open your heart and let them in. You can listen to my voice. All things that you can do as a person. But in the meanwhile, you're sinking through that personal state deep, deep into the core of yourself. Into the magic of self. Be kind enough to yourself to allow yourself to sit with the grandness of you. And don't try to grab, don't try to understand this grandness, for it is as old as the world itself, even older. It cannot be perceived by your mind. It cannot be perceived by your personal senses. So just be still and it will reveal itself to you. And in this moment when nothing else matters except this moment, you can release and be free of the mind. Just be still. Just be so still. And don't do anything. Not even the smallest things. Not creating, not moving energy, not pushing, pulling, thinking, imagining. Nothing. Just as you are in this moment. And slowly, breath at a time, enjoy what is now. Enjoy this moment, this peaceful moment. This satsang, where you are invited in. So come in, be with us. Yes, good. Be you still with us, enjoying the absolute bliss of this moment. Nothing else is needed. Nothing else is needed. This is your time to relax. Be still. And if you like, receive the blessing of grace and all that is to flow into your being, to bless you and to bring the promise that Christ made to humanity, to you. You will awaken, my dear human. You will awaken. This blessing will awaken you to the truth of it, to the grand truth, the grand bliss of self. Don't fight for it. Don't look for it. Stop your search and dive into the grandness of yourself. Nothing else. Nothing else matters. So beautiful. I hope you have also taken the time to enjoy this beautiful music, this beautiful moment. Be blessed. Be blessed, dear one. You are so loved. So loved. And so it is.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
Yanna, thank you. This is it, folks. This is our Christmas gathering. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this, let us know. Send us an email, post something on Instagram, whatever, but let us know. I hope you enjoyed it. Merry Christmas to you all. And I'll pass the microphone to Anita.
Well, very, very Merry Christmas to all of you. Of course, a Happy New Year. And bring the light, feel the light. Allow your blessing to light your little world and the bigger world. Thank you for being here. You could have been somewhere else instead. And I know for some of you it's quite early, quite late, or even dinner time. So blessed and so beautiful that you have taken the time to join us. And I had a little idea, maybe I'm going out of the schedule of the planning, but could we end with a little bit of Yanna music?
Okay. That's a surprise. I was
Yes,
just hanging
but
on my piano already. So, jeszcze odekryta.
if it's not too much bother, of course. No. Just a little bit so we
It's my
will
joy.
end this session. And
Yeah. Okay, just a moment.
so many nice messages already coming in. Thank you, thank you. What a beautiful, beautiful celebration we had. Yes, how wonderful. All made possible by all of these techniques. How wonderful.
Technology.